After the game on Monday night, Mark Sanchez took a little trip over to Pat's for a victory cheesesteak, and I bet Chip Kelly would have prevented that. He would have preferred a victory smoothie. But after the Philadelphia Eagles 45-21 thrashing of the Carolina Panthers, I think he'll give Marky Mark a pass. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. The Eagles pounded those pussies on Monday night. I mean Panthers.
Everybody in Philadelphia is talking about the Sanchez right now. But surprisingly, that's not what they should be talking about. They should be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line and the Philadelphia Eagles linebackers, and especially a guy named Connor Barwin, because right now Connor Barwin is taking over this linebacking core, and he is piling up the sacks. And I gotta say, it's pretty surprising how he's already at 10.5 sacks this season. I mean, how many is he going to get? I mean, this guy is a beast right now, and the main reason why the Eagles won that game was because of special teams and defense. Yeah, Sanchez did a nice job. Offense did all right, but defense and special teams in that game.
Yeah, you know that expression, dominating on both sides of the ball. Well, that was an illustration of where you dominated on all three sides of the ball. It was just a dismantling all the way around. And we are going to start with Sanchez because that's who everybody wants to talk about. So we will talk about Sanchez. 20 of 37, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. His first game as an Eagles starter, first start since December of 2012. So we're going to say right now what we thought about him. I thought he played good. I didn't think he played great or anything. I think a lot of people are overblowing this. What I keep seeing is, the system is making the quarterback. That's basically what's happening here. You can basically throw anybody in there, and they're going to be successful under Chip Kelly, unless his name is Matt Barkley, because that guy blows. But other than that, you can throw anyone in this system.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right there about this system with Chip Kelly. You can really almost throw anyone in there and they're going to succeed. The one thing with Chip Kelly is you need a smart quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over. Now, the one thing that's plagued Mark Sanchez is the turnovers throughout his career with the Jets. But that's, one thing that he didn't do on Monday night was turn the ball over. So it's a nice change of pace there. Now, yeah, like you said, Sanchez didn't go out. He didn't light it up, but he went out and he played a pretty nice game. And now that's always gonna have to do, because if the Eagles can continue to get pressure along their defensive line and with their linebackers, and then they can get Sproles returning a punt here and there, they should really just be fine with Sanchez at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez started out, he was 2 of 7, didn't start too hot. Came along on that. I believe it was either the 4th or 5th drive where he had that connection with Matthews. Matthews had 3 receptions on the drive, picked up 2 third downs. One was like a 3rd and 14, then it was a 3rd and 8. Then he finished it off with hooking up again for the score. And it was really Matthews' breakout game. Obviously, during training camp, they built that connection because they were both on the second team. So Riley Cooper, Nick Foles, they had the connection last year. This year, it's Sanchez and Matthews.
Yeah, it's the Sanchez and Matthews show, and the Bitter Birds have been on top of the Sanchez and Matthews connection, because if you watch the preview show, there's a guy named Mike Owens. He's one of the co-hosts on the Bitter Birds, and he predicted 2 touchdown catches for Jordan Matthews, and I believe that's what happened in the game. So, yeah, I think you're going to continue to see the Sanchez and Matthews connection. And boy, I think we have something special here in Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, they really do. And I was, I'll tell you what, I didn't realize he had that breakaway speed. Yeah, he was zooming, man.
Yeah, I mean he can really get down the field, once he gets going. So he's a guy that you're going to continue to see more and more as the season goes along here. And like we've been saying, Deshaun Jackson, now we've got Mr. Matthews and Macklin don't need to worry about Deshaun anymore. We don't even hear, about him. We heard about him early on in the season when the Eagles were having some struggles on offense, but that's not the case anymore. And another thing is Riley Cooper is slowly being phased out of this offense, and it's really come down to, the Jordan Matthews and the Jeremy Maclin show.
Yeah, the M&M boys. Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, so back to Sanchez. You know, the offensive line was healthy this week. Evan Mathis came back, obviously. Jason Kelsey came back the week prior. And Sanchez had himself a clean pocket to throw to pretty much all game. Unlike Foles has basically had all year. He hasn't had any pocket to throw in. And Sanchez had all day to throw. And, he did his job. He wasn't great, wasn't phenomenal, but he did his job. He made the right reads, made the right throws. Obviously, some of those screen passes got away. He couldn't, hit on those simple bubble screens, kept throwing it over a receiver's head. But other than that, I thought, he played good. I feel like I did last year with Foles. Foles kept putting up these numbers, putting up all these touchdowns. I'm just like, I don't even think he looks great or anything. He's just, doing what he's supposed to do. And that's kind of what Sanchez did on Monday night.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Sanchez, he finished the game 20 for 37, so he did have 17 incompletions. And, like you said, he did miss on a lot of those, bubble screens. So he's got some things that he can work on, and he'll admit that. But going forward, the main thing is going to be for him not to turn the ball over. I think that this was a good game for Sanchez, but then again, this was the Carolina Panthers. I think that this game against the Packers is coming up is going to be a tremendous test for Sanchez. And I think that if he can pass this test against the Packers, then he's really going to have a lot of people jumping on his bandwagon, because that'll be pretty impressive. Because this game against the Panthers, I think that's what you kind of expected him to do, go out and succeed like he did. The one thing that I would say kind of surprised me was that the Eagles really didn't get a running game going at all. And going into the game, we kind of felt like that they were going to run the ball a lot, but it turned out that the Panthers did a nice job of stacking the box and, preventing McCoy from getting going. And I guess, it was nice to see that Sanchez could throw the ball 37 times and not throw a pick.
Yeah, that definitely impressed me. Yeah, they had 23 carries opposed to 38 passes. Barkley came in for a pass and threw one incomplete. Of course, he threw it incomplete. He sucks. But going back to Sanchez, the other thing that I liked about him was when he was under duress, he did a good job when he was blitzed, and good job of sidestepping pressure. Good job of stepping up in the pocket to make throws. I thought he did an outstanding job in that area. Something that we haven't seen from Foles this year, with Mathis out, Kelsey out, he was getting a lot of pressure up the middle, and he wasn't able to handle it, getting those happy feet thrown off his back foot. But Sanchez did a good job when it came to that area.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez was pretty calm back there. He was calm, cool, and collected. And as long as he continues to do that, he'll continue to chip on. And he should be okay. There was actually I saw a funny picture after the game of Foles on the sideline, and his face, he was kind of just like, oh crap, this isn't good for me. Sanchez is playing well. Sanchez is already getting pats and Genos after one victory, so I can't imagine what this is going to lead up to after a few victories. If he beats the Packers, he might be doing a Lambeau leap. So if the Eagles make it pretty far into the playoffs, he might be running up and down the Art Museum steps, taking a picture, a selfie with the statue of Rocky. So I think if Sanchez starts to do well, the people are going to embrace him, and he sure loves the spotlight.
Oh, he definitely loves the spotlight. He's all about that spotlight. Oh, man. He loves it. Marky Mark, baby. Marky Mark.
Yeah, he might end up eating some cheesesteaks on the sideline now, and maybe a few hot dogs, too.
Oh, jeez. All right. So, I'm laughing now. Stop it, Mike. Stop it. All right. So we referenced the running game earlier. Carolina, they stacked the box. They basically made Sanchez beat them, and Sanchez did just that. A lot of one-on-one coverage we saw, with Matthews and Macklin, and he was just picking them apart. I mean, well, 17 incompletions, but you get the drift. But Matthews, I want to talk about him now because this guy's a star in the making. We've been saying it all year, even though he, had a couple of cases of drops earlier on in the preseason, early on in the season. But we kept calm, we chipped on with him, and now he's starting to shine.
Yeah, well, the one thing that they always talked about with Jordan Matthews and why they've put him in the slot is because it's such a mismatch there with his size against these smaller nickel cornerbacks. And now you're kind of getting to see what the Eagles' game plan has been all along. With Matthews, you really get such a big mismatch there, and they're really starting to utilize it. And I mean, yeah, I mean this guy is he's really going to come on here. So he could be a fantasy star here down the stretch. So if you need a wide receiver, I mean he's probably not on that waiver wire anymore. But yeah, he's a guy that you want on your team because Sanchez, that's going to be his main man. Foles had Cooper, and Sanchez has Matthews.
Yeah, and I want to go back to this one drive, their fifth possession of the game. This is the one where Matthews had 3 receptions on it. 3rd and 14, he runs a wheel route. It comes wide open down the right sideline, just a busted coverage from the Panthers. But that's one 3rd down pickup. The other one, a 3rd and 10, he just burns safety Colin Jones right off the line of scrimmage. Picks up, a nice game there, 15 yards. And then of course, the first down, 1st and 10 from the 13, gets the touchdown. So the Matthews and Sanchez connection was, working on all cylinders on that drive. I know the most impressive drive of the game, 91 yards in a blink, less than just over 3 minutes there. So, that was a great drive.
Yeah, it was a great drive. Unfortunately, I was at the game and I was out of my seat at the time. I was taking a piss in the bathroom, so I did get to hear Merrill Reese on the call. But at the same time, it would have been nice to be in my seat to witness it. But yeah, it was a nice drive from how Merrill described it. That was honestly probably the drive of the game for the offense. I kind of felt like, but besides that drive, I mean, they really got dealt some great field position all game because of the turnovers that they were getting. So they were really just in prime position a lot of times on offense. So yeah, that was really the key drive for them. Probably that was probably the one drive where I was the most impressed with Sanchez.
Yeah. All right, so now you referenced the defense. Let's talk about the defense. They had, 2 turnovers in the first 3 plays. So just like that, bada bing, bada boom, it's 10-0 in a blink. And, Sanchez was able to settle in pretty comfortably.
Yeah, well, the whole thing about this is it's kind of ironic because, we were talking about the loss of D'Amico Ryans is going to be, big for the Eagles. And, well, the first 2 plays of the game, Casey Matthews is in on both of them. Second one, he's able to get his paw in there. He knocks the ball out, and Thornton recovers for the Eagles. But yeah, I mean Casey Matthews, he did an all right job. He's proving to be a suitable replacement at this point. Obviously, he's not going to be a guy you want in there in passing situations, but as far as the running game goes, yeah, it's tough to,
I mean, Casey's impressing me. He's impressing me, man. I can't believe I'm saying it. Pass coverage, yeah, he sucks. Greg Olsen burned him on the seam route. But the running plays, he's diagnosing it. He's hitting the right holes. He's making short tackles. I mean, these running backs weren't getting more than 4-yard gains when I was watching the game. The stats are there. It's proof. I mean, I'm watching him. He's playing well. I don't know what's going on. Whether he is clay under that helmet, I don't know, but he's playing pretty damn good against the run. He's not that bad anymore, people. He's grown up.
He's an adult now. He's a real human being. He's actually making plays. It's honestly, it's quite shocking because you go back and you look at the Colts game in week 2, and boy, he was bad. That was the old Casey Matthews that we have seen, for a few years here now in Philadelphia. But since that game, he's really improved dramatically. Let's not forget, he was taken out. He was benched after a few plays in that Colts game because he was so bad. So, yeah, you really got to give the guy props. He's got to be practicing pretty hard and studying because he's really doing a pretty decent job, especially replacing a guy like D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here and saying that he's D'Amico Ryans. He's clearly not. D'Amico Ryans is our Mufasa. We all know that already. But little Simba, he's coming into his own. He's growing up, guys. He's growing up. He really is. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah, well, the thing that's nice is that little Simba has a lot of helpers around him.
That's true.
He's got guys. Michael Kendricks had a pretty good game, and he's another key guy on that, along with in those linebacking core that's really been stepping up since he's come back from that injury. Really, Connor Barwin too. We talked about him. He's really stepping it up too, and Brandon Graham is the guy that we should talk about too, because he's kind of a guy that's kind of developed now. Into almost a full-time outside linebacker. They can kind of rotate him in with, guys like Barwin and Trent Cole when they need to. So I think that's really one of the another surprising development from this season, and kind of a key one because they needed to find pass rushers, and he's a guy that can get to the quarterback right now, and also he can drop back in coverage, which is was a weakness that he's improved.
Yeah, that's been the thing for me this season is his improvement in pass coverage. He was buzzing in coverage, taking away the sideline patterns on Benjamin. He was helping out the corners. They were also using this with Matthews was doing this as well. He's not the greatest in pass coverage, but he was doing it. But this is where I want to credit Billy Davis because he did an outstanding job of mixing up his looks. Showing blitz, backing out of blitzes. I remember this one sequence in particular. There was like a 2nd and 10 and then a 3rd and 10. The 2nd and 10, they show blitz and they back out in coverage, and then 3rd and 10, they come with everybody. They came with the house. So every other play they're switching it up, and Cam he was just a lost little puppy dog, well, a lost little pussycat.
Yeah. Cam was a sick Panther. They had to send him back to the, Charlotte, North Carolina zoo because he was sick. He was a sick little, Panther there. So the one thing with, Cam is he's just a guy that is very, very negative body language, especially when his team gets down. So it was very key for the Eagles to get the pressure that they did on him. And they just annihilated them. Like you said, you got to give credit to Billy Davis, and really that was the best all-around game for the defense this year. They kind of really, put it all together. I think we've kind of been waiting for the cornerbacks to step up their play. That's really been their biggest weakness on our defense is our cornerbacks, and I felt like that was their best game all year. And if they can continue to play like that, we might just be all right here with the defense.
Yeah, Bradley Fletcher did a pretty good job. All season he's struggled to locate the ball on those deep passes, lofting the ball along the sideline. But he was locating ball well on Monday night. Now, granted, these receivers for Carolina, they suck. They're terrible. All they have is Kelvin Benjamin. and the Eagles were pretty much doubling on him all game. So they were trying to make other guys beat him, and they just couldn't do it. Carey, meanwhile, I get why he likes prime time because you can't get burned at night. You don't need to put the suntan lotion on. You don't have to do it. Ointment for the birds. He was all right. Besides, well, the fourth quarter when Benjamin beat him twice, but it was funny because like people were ripping him for that on Twitter. Come on, guys, it was 45-7.
Yeah, Kerry Williams is not a big fan of the sunlight and the daylight, so he's a guy that likes to come out at night. So the Eagles should try to find a way where they can schedule all their games at night because he seems to step it up in prime time. So yeah, he's a good prime time performer, but he's a bad daytime performer.
Yeah, he really is. All right, let's talk about Connor Barwin now. 3.5 sacks, 10.5 on the year. Set the Eagles' linebacking record for sacks in a season, surpassed Trent Cole's mark of 8 from a year ago. But it wasn't just his pass rushing. He was doing a good job in coverage, too. The fourth down play to Jericho Cotchery on the wheel route, he was stride for stride with him. I mean, Cam saw that at the line of scrimmage. He saw that Barwin was on him, and that was his target, and Barwin shut it down. He also spied Cam, did a good job there. Whenever Cam looked to take off along the sideline on a scramble, Barwin was there step for step with him. This guy's becoming, he's becoming the best player on our defense right now, and I can't believe it. When we signed him, I was like, oh man, I don't want Connor Barwin, because I wanted Brandon Graham to get the start, because I liked what he was showing me the last year under Andy Reid. But they signed Barwin. He didn't do too hot last year, but this year, yeah, he's been a monster, especially since Kendricks went out in week 2.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. Barwin is just a beast right now, and he's on fire. There's no one that can stop him. Just watching his highlights from that Panthers game, I mean, it's pretty impressive. So, yeah, he's really turned out to be the best player on our defense right now. And, I mean, it's hard to imagine that he can keep up this pace right now because, I mean, it's really unreal. The guy is just he's dominating games. He's taking over. And, geez, yeah, just got to enjoy it while we can because I don't think he can continue this rapid pace.
Yeah, he's going to be clearly the first Eagles linebacker since Jeremiah Trotter to make the Pro Bowl. I mean, there's no denying he's going there. I don't know if it's in Honolulu this year, if it's in Glendale, I don't know, but he's going to the Pro Bowl. Some other guys in the defense that played well, Fletcher Cox, he does it in and out every week. Cedric Thornton, was in there on that fumble. I mean, he was in the backfield. Matthews was the one that stripped it. Brandon Graham, we brought him up. Vinny Curry. I mean, everybody, really.
Yeah, well, it was nice to see Fletcher Cox actually believe. He ended up getting a sack, right?
I can check that.
Pretty sure he ended up getting a sack late there in the game. It was nice to see him kind of get in the backfield though and get that sack because he's the kind of guy that he's not going to put up stat line for sacks, but he's been having an outstanding year, so it was nice to see him get rewarded.
Yeah, he did have a sack. I just looked it up, so he did have one of the 9 sacks that the Eagles had. Now, they've had 17 sacks in their last 2 home games, 8 against the Giants, now 9 against Carolina. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what they do against Green Bay because, Carolina's offensive line is abysmal, and Green Bay's isn't too hot either, so I expect them to continue the pressure. Now, what's going to be interesting is Aaron Rodgers because he gets the ball out lightning fast. So, I can't wait to watch that matchup on Sunday, 4:25 p.m. I can't wait. I'm going to be doing Lambo leaps at work, so hopping over desks and shit. I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, just don't do the double check because you might tear your ACL.
Yeah, especially me because I have a history of knee issues.
Yeah, we don't need that, so we don't need to send you to the hospital. So, no celebrating with the, double check celebration.
What about the Raji belly dance?
No, none of that too. You might get kicked out of the office.
Oh, jeez.
If there were some female employees, then it might be acceptable.
Yeah, they would be loving that shit. Especially getting the titties out.
Oh man, you might have to, go on that diet again before that happens.
Yeah, yeah, get back on that yogurt diet. The problem is I'm eating too much fast food lately. I'm learning from you, and it's not a good thing. You're showing me bad habits, bro.
No, they're good habits.
No, they're not. Terrible habits. Awful habits. I'm just not a skinny little fuck like you.
Well, only about, 1% of the population can be like me and my eating habits and my physique. So,
Oh, man. All right, let's get back to the offense because there's a guy that I forgot to talk about. His name is Brent Selleck. 5 catches, 116 yards, came into the game with just 90 receiving yards on the season. And so not only is he catching the ball, his blocking ability is phenomenal for a tight end. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, just watch that Sproles touchdown run. Set the edge perfectly. Sproles, beep, beep, right into the end zone. Scooted right in there.
yeah, I think that Sproles could have, went all the way to Europe like that because it was freaking wide open. I mean, Jesus, I mean, me or you could have scored that touchdown. It was so wide open. So Selleck did an outstanding job. His blocking is just unreal. I mean, that's what the guy does. That's what he's known for. So it's nice for him to finally, get into the receiving game. Obviously before Ertz, he was more of a, receiving tight end too. But now with Ertz, he's become more of a blocker. He kind of got robbed. Had a touchdown taken away from him. It was hard to see at the game, but what was the view on TV? Did it seem like he was in?
He was short. I thought he was.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of looked like his knee was down. The ball was just short of the goal line, so it was probably a good call. But at the same time, it was nice because helped Shady out. Shady could get a little TD there. So
Yeah, yeah. All right. The other thing I wanted to bring up, the Eagles' red zone did a phenomenal job. I believe they had. I don't know if they had 4 trips, but they only kicked the 1 field goal.
yeah,
That was a trip into the red zone, technically.
yeah. I mean, for most of the season, the red zone, it's been a red panic button because it hasn't been good. But recently, they seem like they've kind of fixed the problem here. So hopefully they can continue on that trend because, not converting in the red zone cost them their 2 losses.
Yeah, they were 4 for 4 in the red zone, touchdowns on all 4 trips. So that's gonna, rise up those percentages a little bit. They're probably not last in the league anymore.
No, but the main thing is no turnovers in the red zone. Turnovers in the red zone will kill you, kill them against the Cardinals. So yeah, if they don't do that, hey, they got Parkey, and Parkey can make that field goal. So
Love Parkey, baby. Love Parkey.
But yeah, actually, Parkey might have had his worst game of the season as far as kickoffs go. He wasn't kicking it into the end zone and getting those touchbacks like he usually does. So maybe it was a little bit cold for Mr. Parkey.
Oh man, Mr. Parkey. Oh, so yeah, they go 4 for 4 in the red zone. This is funny because this is what happened when Foles took over for Vic. All of a sudden, all those red zone woes, they went away because Foles kept throwing 1 touchdown after another. And now it's like they switched to Sanchez, and all of a sudden they're throwing more touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's just really unexplainable at this point. They've just seemed to turn it around.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny how it works. Well, they're utilizing Jordan Matthews in the red zone too, so that's really working out for him.
Yeah, Matthews. he's going to be a target from now on. And well, it's kind of sad because before the game, I went and I bought my Ertz jersey, and Mr. Ertz wasn't at the game. I don't know what happened. He just didn't do anything. It's time to show Ertz some love. They got to get him more involved.
Yeah, he wasn't like even on the field. They had Selleck out there. Ertz wasn't even. I mean, I don't know if it's because he can't block. I mean, his pass catching ability is extraordinary. I've been clamoring to see him more in the red zone, and he's just not out on the field. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, I mean, I believe he only had like one catch. So I don't know if it was your jinx if you bought the jersey and all of a sudden he sucks now. I don't know, but yeah, he's. I'm hoping to see him pick up his play a little bit. I mean, you got to get him on the field though. I mean, I didn't even see him on the field that much.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens. This offense is really such a week-to-week thing. A new guy steps up every week, so a lot of it depends on how they game plan. Obviously, they felt like Selleck was the guy to go to in this game, so we'll see what happens going forward. But it would be nice to see a little bit more of Ertz, especially now that they have most of their offensive line back. You wouldn't think that they would need Selleck in there as much as a blocker.
Yeah, and speaking of the offensive line, just a little thing to fix up real quick. I don't know if it's because Foles is a lot taller than Sanchez, but Kelsey right now is struggling with his shotgun snaps. Now that's a thing you can work on in practice, obviously, but there were a couple of them that they almost got away from Sanchez, and that could change the game around. So you got to clean that up, Kelsey.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe Kelsey he's a bit rusty, coming off his injury, so he's gonna have to work on that. But yeah, surprisingly, Sanchez he's had some good hands to preventing these bad snaps from being turnovers. So yeah, definitely that's one thing they're gonna have to clean up. But it's definitely nice to have most of that offensive line back for the stretch run here.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, obviously Sproles returned another punt for a touchdown. I mean, this guy, it's funny because he had two drops early on in the game, and then he atones for it with this extraordinary punt return for a touchdown. The Eagles now have 9 can't get it out of my mouth. 9 non-offensive touchdowns on the season. The record is 13 by the 1998 Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they're on pace to shatter this mark. They got 2 more scores on Monday night. Obviously, Fletcher had the other one. This is extraordinary watching this. And in the meantime, I'm going to go get my chart, and you can talk about this.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable right now what the special teams is doing. Especially Sproles. It's crazy to think that the Eagles only gave up a 5th-round pick to get this guy from the Saints because right now he's just unbelievable. And I mean, it's just shocking that teams are still punting to this guy. Well, why in the world would you punt to him? I don't get it. I think Gruden actually had a great quote. He said something like, "Why in the world would you punt the ball to Darren Sproles in the middle of the field?" And that's exactly what the Panthers did. Mm-hmm. And I have the same question. What the hell were they thinking? I mean, don't even give this guy a shot because, I mean, right now he's almost impossible to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's dumber. The Panthers kicking the ball to him in the middle of the field or the Saints giving him up for a 5th-round draft pick. Steal of the century.
Yeah, it really is. I was just talking about that. It was a huge steal. And Sproles is really one of the MVPs of this team right now. He's really putting, the punt return unit on his back and just getting it done. It's still amazing to watch Sproles and how fast he still is. I mean, the guy he still has a lot left in the tank, and just a huge part of this team.
Did you talk about how your girlfriend said what the Saints were thinking for giving up Jenkins and Sproles?
Yeah, it was kind of funny because we went to the diner after the game, and I was explaining how Sproles and Jenkins both came from the Saints, and she was like so confused. She's like, why would the Saints do that? Aren't the Saints like horrible right now? It's like, yeah, they're they decided that they wanted to go with Jarius Byrd because they wanted to save some money to get him, and well. And I was like, yeah, well, Jarius Bird's not playing because he's on injured reserve, and yeah, the Saints are looking like idiots right now.
Huge idiots. Darren Sproles, his value on third down is what really it's all about. I mean, any 3rd and 4, any 3rd and 5, you give him that little option route, that's a first down 90% of the time. Now, obviously, he had those 2 drops that I referenced earlier, but his value is immense. It really is, and he's really showing it this season, like once again. I mean, he's 31, and he's still quick as ever.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Saints underestimated his value to that team. I felt like he was a pretty big part of that team, and yeah, by them getting rid of him, that really hurts him, especially on third down because he's a phenomenal third down back that you can use out of the backfield as a receiver. So big loss for the Saints, but a big pickup for us.
Yeah, I mean that was Breeze's little security blanket. Whenever he needed that third down, that 3rd and 4, he turned to Sproles. It was like that every time. And yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't know. I mean, I understand. You want to get Jarius Byrd. That didn't really make much sense to me either, because you had Kenny Vaccaro and Jenkins. It's not like Jenkins is horrible. He's a solid safety. He's not bad at all, and they're really paying for it right now. They're 4-5. The defense is an abomination, and they don't have a third down guy that can out of the backfield anymore.
Yeah, the Saints really took a big risk going after Bird. They knew his history with injuries, so they put all their money there in one basket, and it's really coming back to haunt them. So they're a team that's if they don't win their division, they're not going to make the playoffs. So, and it's not looking good for them right now because they just had a heartbreaking loss to the 49ers. So, yeah, not good right now for the Saints.
No, not at all. And that's the funny thing. It's the Panthers are 1-6-1 in their last 8 games, and they're still within shouting distance of the NFC South. It's horrible, awful, awful. Bitter beer faces all the way around.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, that division right now. Yeah, it's insane, but yeah, not good.
Yeah. All right. So I guess this is where we can talk about. We're really going to find out how good this Eagles team is in the next 5 games. This stretch is brutal. At Green Bay, you get a nice little preseason game against Tennessee. That's our Tennessee Chattanooga. That the SEC always beats up on those little guys, those little cupcakes. And then we play, Seattle in between Dallas twice. So these next 5 games, it's really going to tell us how good this team really is.
That's exactly right, and it's going to tell us how good Sanchez really is. He's really got some big tests coming up here in the near future, so we'll see how he fares. But yeah, brutal run coming down this stretch here for the Eagles. Thankfully we're 7-2. We I mean, geez, we're a lot better than expected. I mean, we came into this year and we said like 9 9 wins. Then we upped it to 10. But yeah, I mean they're on pace to get 11 or 12 right now.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just hoping with these 4 games. Obviously 3-1 would be phenomenal, but I'm just hoping to go 2-2. And because I think if you go 2-2, you could very well finish 12-4.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're exactly right. It's going to be, really tough for them with the opponents that they have coming up, especially at Lambeau Field. Extremely tough game, and then obviously Cowboys twice and the Seahawks. So yeah, it's not easy at all. So yeah, I feel like if they could come, 2-2 out of that, then yeah, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Seattle and Dallas at home. Those are the two that I think they'll get. Green Bay, I just don't see it, but we'll see. I mean, Green Bay and Lambeau, that's tough, and the Packers are playing really well right now, as we are. I mean, we're both playing well. But, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers always seems to pick us apart. So, I mean, we'll see. We love bringing the blitz, but I think Rodgers thrives under the blitz.
Yeah, I think that this could really be a struggle for us against the Packers. Not really expecting much, and I don't think if the Eagles, lose, people shouldn't really worry about it too much. I mean, it's going to happen. We're not going to win. We're going to lose by like 10 or 14 points. It's just what's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that game further
Yeah.
tomorrow because we're going to do it a preview show. All right. So, yeah, discount double checking. Moving on, we'll talk a little bit about the Cowgirls now. They pick up the win in London, even though 20 guys didn't make the curfew the night prior. They felt like they could just the Jaguars, they could just beat up on them, and that they did. I tried getting my hopes up, that Jacksonville would somehow miraculously get this win, but it just wasn't going to happen.
Nah, well, we had our hopes up for a little bit there. The Jaguars hung tough early on, but then the Cowboys just really put them away. Yeah, it's kind of funny there with the Cowboys and their curfew thing. The Cowboys don't even know if there's a curfew. Jerry Jones doesn't even know if the team had a curfew. Who knows what's going on? But I think that the thing that you have to talk about with the Cowboys right now, and if I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be worried about Des Bryant off the field because there's reports out there that the cops have been to his house like like 6 times or something over like the past few years or something or past year. So yeah, he's a guy that I would keep my eye on because he can explode at any time, and if he explodes at the wrong time, then the Cowboys are in trouble.
And by the way, he has the single worst end zone dance I've ever seen. First of all, he steals LeBron's thing. LeBron is a tool by itself. So he's stealing from a tool, and then he does this little X thing. What? Idiot. Now, Michael Kendrick's sack dance is 10 times better than that. Did you see that dance? How quick his feet are? Oh, he must have had some salsa dancing skills back in the day.
Yeah, no, Kendrick's definitely he ranks up there with his celebration dances. It's pretty good. So people should be taking lessons from him. Yeah, not sure. Des Bryant must belong to some rival gang of Deshaun Jackson or something.
Oh, Des. Oh, yeah, he's my most despised player in the NFL right now. Des crying. He cries after every call. Whenever he doesn't have a reception, he's crying to the refs for a pass interference. It's awful. This guy is, an embarrassment to the Cowboys, to the NFL in general. This guy's a pathetic human being. He really is. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of Des Bryant. That guy has got a ton of talent, unbelievable athlete. But as far as a person go, yeah, he's not a role model citizen. That's for sure.
No, not at all. Oh man. All right, so some other things to talk about. We talked a little bit about that Saints game. Uh, you know, I don't know if you saw the pass interference call on Jimmy Graham. I'm sure you did. I thought it was the correct call. Unfortunately, Jimmy Graham was on my fantasy team, but it wouldn't have mattered this week. I got smoked, but yeah, I mean, so you had that play, and also the other game to talk about a little bit. The Giants, just got manhandled in the second half. The Seahawks couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop beast mode, Skittles, all the way around. I had to face Lynch this week in fantasy. Got 41 points against me.
Oh, bad, yeah. Wow, geez, it looks like that, like, outside right now, the sun is really starting to come in. I better move over here. All of a sudden, the sun is just outrageous.
Yeah, you're gonna get burned like Kerry.
Yeah, right. So yeah, now it's a lot better.
You're usually in the basement. You switched it up.
Yeah, no, I like to, rotate it, go to the different spots, give our viewers a different perspective, They don't know where I'm gonna be, so now I'm over here, and before I was in the sun, but yeah, now the Jimmy Graham thing, yeah, I mean, it was a penalty. He definitely, you know, pushed off. It was a good acting job too,
Yeah.
but. Big win for your 49ers. They really needed that one. That was a season saver there.
Well, they're not my 49ers, all right? I only
Mm.
have one team, okay? I'm not Jeff.
Yeah,
I only have one team. They're just my Super Bowl pick. But but they took a step back because Patrick Willis is now going to be out for the year. So
yeah,
once again, they're overcoming. They got to overcome all these things. But I did like the way Carlos Hyde looked in that game. But yeah, going back to your little, moving all over the place. All you need is a little striped shirt with some red and some white on it. Then you where's Waldo?
yeah. Well, I'll have to wear that outfit next time.
Man, see, I'm just generic. I stay in the same spot. You got Gaccio on this side. You got Jeff Garcia on the other. Got some Phillies pennants. Hey, maybe I should start switching it up.
Yeah, I mean, pretty soon we're gonna have to, get you Mark Sanchez little thing there, maybe some Foles action, some Vic, Chip Kelly. You still have Andy Reid up there. We're gonna have to get Chip Kelly on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch this up. I'm gonna have to I don't know. I gotta get some chip up there. Get Andy's grill up right up here. You got Fred X. Special delivery.
I'm surprised that there's not puke all over it from McNabb.
Oh man, that's in my trash can.
Oh, he made it to a trash can.
Yeah, he was like Chris C.
Yeah, he definitely does a nice job of making it to the trash can. So that's nice that he did that.
Oh man, we're having too much fun right now. And our viewers probably have no idea what we're talking about, and they don't.
No, inside joke.
Yeah, it's inside jokes. Yeah, but yeah. Speaking of this guy Jeff, because this is kind of funny, because this guy has he's one of those fans that has a team for each league. In baseball, he's a Phillies fan, but he's also a Mariners fan because he can have an AL team. In hockey, he likes the Flyers and the Colorado Avalanche. So he's got two teams in the NHL, two teams in basketball. He doesn't really like basketball, but football, he doesn't have two teams in football. But his favorite team is the New England Patriots. The Patriots. Ew.
Yeah, well, he's really just all over the map. So, and he likes to pick teams that are winning. So,
That's true.
and it's pretty funny. I mean, he's just one of those guys. I mean, we all know those people. We all have those friends. There's always that one friend that makes no sense, and they just want to like every single team on the planet, and usually it's every good team.
Yeah, right. Oh man. All right. Moving on. You know, tack about this Sunday night game. The Bears are a mess. They are awful defensively. I don't know what's going to happen with. I don't know if Trestman keeps his job after this season, but man, I mean, they bring this guy in because they wanted to help with their offense, but they completely overlooked the fact that their defense went to shit.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you bring a guy in from the CFL and you tell him to be your head coach. Uh, it's not going to. Sometimes you can get, a quarterback that comes over from the CFL and does well, but a head coach, yeah, kind of surprising. I wasn't really a big fan of that signing when they, brought him over from the CFL. And yeah, the Bears, they should be playing in the CFL right now because they are so bad and they have a lot of problems in that locker room. They have just that's the thing. You can't have explosive guys like Brandon Marshall on a team when you start losing because he's gonna blow up, and that's not good for the chemistry on the team, especially when you're having a horrible season.
Yeah, it's funny how that always works out. When you're going good, everything's all nice and dandy. But then when you're losing, it's horrible. I can't wait till that one year where Dallas goes 5-11 and Des Bryant starts lashing out at the coaches, lashing out at the players, all that stuff. I can't wait for that year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the same thing. Just wait until Dallas starts losing a few games and Des Bryant isn't getting his touches, and all of a sudden, he'll be exploding, and who knows what he'll do next. So, it's kind of one of the reasons why the Eagles got rid of Deshaun Jackson. The Eagles aren't going to say that's why they got rid of Deshaun Jackson, but they got rid of him because they didn't want to deal with his off the field antics and all the drama that he brings to the table. And right now, I mean, it's looked like Chip did the right thing because they're not missing him.
Yeah. What I saw from I did a little feature earlier on in the week, comparing Maclin and Jackson. Now I don't know what the updated stats are, but according to Pro Football Focus, Maclin had a plus 9.1 rating on the season. Jackson was plus 0.4. So Maclin is strides, heads above him. He's actually ranked number 4 in out of all wide receivers. He's only behind Antonio Brown, T.Y. Hilton, and I forget who the last guy is. Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, well, we've kind of always said that Maclin is a better receiver.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson is a playmaker. That's what he is. He's not really, he's not a great receiver per se. Really all Jackson knows how to do is run straight down the field, burn his man, and catch a big touchdown pass. He's not going to be a guy that's going to try to get open for the quarterback if things fall apart. So, Macklin's he's a great wide receiver. He's definitely a better wide receiver than Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, what you just talked about is basically what my whole feature was about. All Jackson can do is run a go route. Now, he also gets open on the comeback route, but that's because he's so damn fast, corners play off of him. So that's all he's got. He's got 2 moves. Maclin does a little bit of everything. And, it's about damn time that Maclin makes us look smart because we've been saying this for years. Even though Jackson had those 1,000-yard seasons and Maclin has never had one, this is the year that he's really breaking out and showing how good he really is.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, and anyone can really flourish in this Chip Kelly offense. And you're kind of really seeing it with Maclin. I mean, Maclin is a good receiver, but his stats are inflated with Chip Kelly's offense, I feel like. And, I think a great example is a guy like Riley Cooper. I mean, he's really not a good wide receiver, but look at the stats that he put up last year, and that's all Chip Kelly.
Yeah, everything is Chip Kelly. It's the system, man. It's the system. That's what it is. It kind of reminds me of when, Matt Castle, 2008, Tom Brady tears his ACL in week 1. Matt Castle, I made a bet with some guy that year. I remember. I said that the Patriots are going to still make the playoffs. Now, they became the first team to go 11-5 and not make the postseason, but I felt like my theory was justified because they went out and they got 11 wins. I said, any quarterback can, thrive under Bill Belichick. And, Castle went out, he got a deal, got himself some money with the Chiefs. And that's what's going to happen with Sanchez at the end of the year. Some idiot with the Raiders or maybe the Titans or something, they're going to sign Sanchez. And honestly, I think he's going to go right back to his old ways next year.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. I mean, if Sanchez continues to, play decent like he did, Monday night, then someone will give him a pretty big contract. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm just interested to see, how the season kind of plays out here because, and see what Sanchez does. This week is a big start. He's got a big test, and we're going to see if he can pass it.
Yeah.
I don't have much confidence, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna have to end this show. It's 3:15, and I gotta
Jeez.
get out of here for work. I gotta get out by like 3:30. I still gotta get all my food and drinks and all that together. So, unfortunately, we gotta cut this off here, and it's final thoughts time. So this is spotlights on you, Mike.
Well, Pizza Hut has decided that they're going to redo their menu, and well, they've added 11 new recipes, 10 new crusts, and 6 new sauces, and a new box too. So maybe when you head into work, you're going to pick up one of their new pizzas, and I think that you might have to go with the cockle-doodle-doo bacon pizza.
The cockle-doodle-doo bacon pizza is definitely a winner. That's the best one they got. Oh man, I wish we could talk about this right now, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
We'll have to save this for the tomorrow. All these names that they have are phenomenal. They're great names.
All right, go get your cockle-doodle-doo, bacon pizza, and I'll see you tomorrow for our preview show, and we'll get ready for the Lambeau Leap.
All right. Sounds like a great plan. All right, so with that being said, that was Mike Owens. He's probably going to go get some Pizza Hut tonight, too. I'm Adrian Fedque. Take care, all. Have a good one.
See ya.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Later.